they're getting at that time. So, you just make sure that delivery ticket matches what, and then you have, you sign it. It says when you sign that, means this is good. I've got all these cookies. Watch them carefully after you sign it, because we've had a lot of situations to where when the delivery company left, they took 10 cases of cookies with them. Now, for some reason, they probably thought, oh, I just set that over there, and now I'm going to get them back. So just kind of be aware of everything at all times, because that's a very stressful time. You've got all these cookies, just need to be aware of it. Count again. Do not let the delivery agent pressure you into signing it without counting. And so if he says, I'll bring you back 10 cases of Samoas tomorrow, make sure it's noted on that form. That form, it said originally 60 cases. He'll say, oh, I'll bring you that 10 cases tomorrow. Then mark through that 60, put 50 down there, and initial that. So that those records, because if you don't, all we have to go on is what you signed on that form. So we have to say, if this form says you got 60, you got 60. So once you have the cookies, they stay your financial responsibility until they go to the truth. Once they go to the truth, that financial responsibility piece goes with it. So you need to make sure that they all have that true responsibility cookie chair, whatever that form is, responsibility form, their position. You need to make sure that that person is listed in eBuddy. There's a lot of troops we have in there do not have a true cookies person. A lot of them didn't even have a leader. So then you have to do a lot of research to see, who am I supposed to be sending this form to saying they owe us for money? So that's something as a service unit person that would be really good for you to kind of eye that as you're going through your service unit troops, to say, how come this one doesn't have a leader? How come this one doesn't have a true cookie chair?
I didn't look in the manual. Is it that page in the back you tear out again?
Possibly.
There's
separate
this year.
That would be, no.
Thank you. I didn't know.
Now that
I
I'm
opened my
corrected,
box.
yes.
Is it in the box that we shipped to us?
Yes.
In the envelope.
It's on the table today.
It's table today.
Oh, is that for the service unit one?
No.
Or for the troop? Okay. So you'll need more than the one.
Yes.
Okay. Once the cookies are distributed to the troop, once again, they become the financial responsibility of that cookie chair. Now the key is, we know that you need help when you're getting all those cookies in. Now if you have a direct delivery site, these don't even apply. But if you don't have a direct delivery site, troop leaders will come to help, but they also think they can pick up their cookies early. We have a lot of areas, you don't want any movement of those cookies until you know that everything is as it should be. We have some service units that will distribute it by troops before anybody picks up a box, so that they know that something's not in the wrong pile. I would love to say that if someone takes a Samoa home and they needed a Thin Mint, that they bring the Samoa back to get their Thin Mint, but that doesn't always happen. For some reason, they will definitely let you know that they are missing a Thin Mint, but that extra Samoa is like, excuse me. So, I think sometimes that's an oversight, because they say, well, we'll just put that in our booth sales. But that makes somebody else off case. So I would say 9 times out of 10, if someone's shorted or took an extra case, they never can find it.
Well,
Which is
awful. That's how we found our cover cookies.
Oh, okay.
They were not set out separate.
Oh.
On the paperwork, the cover cookies were not separate.
Yeah, they never
They
are.
marked everything all together.
But they are always all together.
It's delivered at the same time.
They delivered them at the same time. But they was all worked together on the paperwork, and that's the first year.
Really? I would check with Denise and make sure that even if it's delivered at the same time, there should be 2 separate delivery tickets. Yeah, there should be, because you're signing for 2 separate things. You're signing for cookies you're moving on to the troops, and you're signing for cookies that you're keeping in a booth. Okay, once a troop signs for the cookies, they belong to the troop. We do not accept cookies back. We would work with service units if, y'all, we transfer cases between cupboards and stuff like that, but we will not take cookies is going to come true. We just can't guarantee the safety of those cookies. In this day and age, there is just too much chance of tampering or something happening that we don't want to risk risk management is very important to us. The safety of the girls. When you're talking to troop leaders, when you're doing their training, tell them when they're at a cookie booth, use common sense. Just say, use common sense. Don't come to use logic. That doesn't work with everybody. Just say, use common sense. Don't do anything at a cookie booth that you wouldn't do if you were having a bake sale with the church or a fundraiser. We don't use fundraiser, but if you're doing a fundraiser for a school, we do money earning. So in that situation, don't leave the money inside. So if they're at a booth sale and they've got, money, don't set it out there. I don't care if they are putting a towel over it every 3 minutes. They need to figure out a way to kind of do that under the table or something like
I
that.
bought a money box
Oh, that's cool.
when I was a troop leader. I bought it out of my own money and and it had a key with it. So if it wasn't being used, it was locked.
These are movable, right?
Yeah, but it was always in my sight. So
Well, and never.
you're right, they are movable.
Yes.
But as long as you keep your eye on it.
Never walk away from the money. I was telling the first group, I was in there helping with the shop, and Cindy's on this side, and Kim's on this side, and Cindy's got the cash drawer. And so she keeps it open, and every time I look over there, I just close it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that at home. But I think that, if they hit an uncomfortable amount might mean different things to different people. $50 may be uncomfortable for some people. $200 may be uncomfortable for someone else. Once they get to that level of unrest, they need to put that money somewhere that either locked in a trunk, somewhere that it's not there with the rest of it. Always have an adult taking care of excess money. The girls can absolutely do the transactions. Especially as, all of them. That's one of the skills that we're teaching is money skills. So they need to be able to take that $5 and give them back $1, or take that 10 and give them back $1 if they did a $5 box and $4 box. But beyond that, you need the adults to be able to take care of the money that's already been collected, and always have 2 adults count the money at the end of the day. And I would even go one step further and say, not only do they count it, and have them initial what that count is.
I would also say to count cookies that are left too.
Yes, they should be able to. At some point, they should be able to reconcile what they took, what they sold, and how much money they have. Now, they may be off a little bit, but they just need to know that.
We always have a form that we fill out, each of us, to make sure it's correct.
The other thing on here, though, is this would be my recommendation to not do. Do not have parents bring you their cookie money in the middle of a booth sale. We have had that happen. That is always a bad idea because you've got so much things going on that whereas normally at a booth sale, you may have up to $200 or $300, at any time or more. You start throwing in parents paying for cookies, you can have $3,000 to $4,000 sitting there at that booth sale. So, figure out a different way, recommend to your troop leaders, find a different way to collect that money. A booth sale is not the ideal opportunity. Always pay attention to their surroundings. So when they're at a booth sale and you've got little girls, anytime there's little girls and there's money, if you've got some person walking back and forth in front of your booth sale and they haven't stopped to get cookies and you're not in a place where they're going into the store, just be aware of that. I'm not saying confront them and say, hey, you, what you doing over here?
Hey, creeper!
Hey, you, you pervert, just say, but in this day and age, we just can't take safety for granted. There are just too many situations that happen in the blink of an eye. So just be aware. We're not saying them to be overly, paranoid, but just be aware of their surroundings. Because if there's a tiger looking, he's probably after the cookies, not the kids, but could happen. Okay, make deposits frequently. Last year we asked that deposits be made weekly, and we're asking that again. But let me just give a note of, I don't want to say warning, that sounds kind of negative. Deposit tickets are not free. They cost a lot of money. I had 2 deposits yesterday, hopefully nobody in the room. Had 2 deposits yesterday on the nut sale from the same troop, 2 deposits. One of them was for $22 for one check, and the other one was for $16 for one check. Both deposit slips were from the same troop, and none of them had one like saying, this was for Shanna, and this was for George.
They put it on one slip.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is, sometimes we've maybe taken this too far. So when you say make frequent deposits, Sally gives me a check this morning, I run it to the bank. Susie gives me a check at noon, I run it to the bank. So, kind of use back to that common sense. We want them to make frequent deposits. Well, let's just not go overboard. We know that there are bad things that happen. We know that there's break-ins. Hopefully it's not me. No, it's somebody else. We know there's break-ins. We know there's house fires. As long as you get a police report or a fire department report, we're going to work with you and hopefully recoup some of that out of insurance, but more than not, we'll just write that on there and we'll accept that. Now, if the police are not willing to write a report because they feel it's fishy, then we're not taking that. They have to be able to get a report. They have to be able to convince the police that something happened. We do have several banks that we deal with. Last year at this training, someone said, but can you do this bank or this bank? We do have other council accounts beyond these 4 banks. So if you have a different bank other than a very small community bank or a federal credit union, we might be able to work with a group. Last year, I think they were asking about a City National or a Huntington Banks. And we do have, some Huntington Banks, and we've had some people use them this year. First time they ever used
them
them.
last year
Mhm.
because our closest BB&T is in Clarksburg.
Yeah.
And who wants from Elkins to Clarksburg?
It's just a hop and a skip. But in that situation, so we always want to make it so that they can do a frequent deposit. So if you have another bigger bank, just let us know. Well, if we have a countable account there, we can work and see if we can do that.
I appreciate you getting that
No
information.
problem. Deposits in eBuddy. We check those once that money, probably 3 weeks before money's due. I start checking that every morning. I still check it every morning. So just have it. But I check it every morning. I download the People's Bank one. I can see every deposit in People's, West Banco, First United, and BB&T. So we have the availability quickly. I told the first group is that by doing it that quickly, we were able to reduce our delinquency a lot. And I'm going to tell you the amount we ended up with this year, and it still sounds like a lot, but when you compare it to the past, it's good. So we were able to get it down to 33,000 with those sales. And in the past, it's been as high as 150,000. So that is one of the reasons that we do this daily, and that this year we were able to let people know that they hadn't paid probably within 2 weeks of the money being due. So timeliness is probably the best factor in getting money paid, and any place will tell you that. The faster they can get you to know, yes, Miss Emily.
It really helped when Roberta saw it. She put a little check mark so that you knew she'd seen it. So when you're looking at the report, there it is. It's like, what is that check? It took a bit. But yeah. Oh, that was great. So
Yeah,
please continue.
I will. Once I can figure out if anybody's gonna let me do that.
Okay.
Not real happy with anybody right now. But look, like Emily said, I put those in every morning. So when I download that from BB&T or First United or People's, I go immediately into eBuddy, and if it's not there, I'll put it there. If it's there, I'll go ahead and verify it, so that you know when you're looking at it that I've seen it. Now that's still, if I've seen it, it'll have that little check mark, and it'll have an initial that says ST for statement. If I have actually had it in my hand, a deposit slip, I'll change that to an RR. That means I've seen it, I've got a deposit slip, I've filed it. And even if you scan it to me, you still get the RR.
With the Huntington Bank, would you like for me to send, like, if the leaders tell me, hey, I deposited such and such, get their deposit slip, and then I can scan it
Sure.
and send you
We will,
it in an
we
email?
will take
that say-
scanned copies, yeah.
Okay. I can also send it to the office, but to make it quicker for you,
That's
would
fine.
it be easier to?
Yeah,
for me
because what I
scan
have
it
to
and
do with
email it
Huntington
to you?
Banks, Huntington Banks is one of the ones that, I don't have online access to.
Right.
So I actually have to walk over the
Because
Huntington
it's, I
Banks and
think,
say, can
just
you give me
a
a
savings
readout?
account for theirs.
Yes.
So I think that may be why. Okay.
Okay, choose the bank for the drop-down menu, send a copy to Charleston, retain the copy for you to pick out rewards. The other thing that we talked about in the first group too is that the one thing that we have been very remiss about is that we have been checking to make sure that they've paid counsel. And we really don't have a good procedure in place to make sure that the troop has gotten their troop proceeds. So I think at some point that's something we'll have a small task group work on to say, you know what, when I'm bringing you as a service unit my stuff to get my rewards, here's my deposit showing I paid counsel, which they can get out of eBuddy. So here's my deposit showing I put my $1,000 troop proceeds in the troop account. Or this is how much I put in the troop account and this is how many cases of cookies I had left over. Because that's the piece that we don't find out about until something else happens in the troop. Because once I've got them paid in the system, I think everything's good. But you know, that's a lot of troops have a lot of money in troop proceeds. So I think that's one of the things that we have not been as good about as we probably could be. If you do not have a BB&T deposit ticket or deposit ticket to another bank and you just have our account number, ask them to write your account number, your troop number on it. They will, because I get them that looks like this. It just says Girl Scouts of Black Diamond Council cookie account, $45.70. I don't know who that is. But I've seen them like this also, and someone has put in ink at the bottom, troop 41170. So they just make a copy of what they have right there. So they will let a person write on it, or they'll write it for you. But that just helps. What I have to do with this is print that report out of eBuddy and hope whoever made that $47.70 deposit has already put it in eBuddy. So then I'm just verifying it. When making a deposit, make sure that your troop number is on there. Make sure it adds correctly. We get a lot of deposit corrections every year. That's one of the things that you'll see if you're looking at the deposits and the sales report. Well, you used to be able to see when you were looking at the deposit and the sales report. So it's important to know that, you know, if the addition is incorrect and it's to your advantage, I don't get anybody complaining about that. That, you know, hey, I got another $30 in my account. But if it goes the other way and all of a sudden it says, you're short $54. And we've had some, I think the highest shortage, I think was like 120. In some situations, it will be a check that's not there. In other situations, it will be just, it just doesn't add right.
Roberta, can I make a comment?
Sure.
When you're collecting your money, make sure you use all your checks that you can that people are giving you from your customers, because we would rather send it through that bank than you get stuck with it and put it in your troop account for your proceeds and the check bounces. Then there's that extra cost that you're going to have to come up with to cover that fee if you go back to the parent, because I've had it happen to me in my troop. I went to the parent and said, I'm sorry, your check is bounced. Now this is a $25 or $30 or more service charge, and they don't have the money.
Right.
And now your troop is stuck with it. So I just wanted to add that.
As long as we are not doing ACHs, that will work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Once we ever get to the ACH where we start doing direct withdrawals, and we're not there yet. I retire in 2 years. We'll probably be there about that. Right
No,
after that.
Roberta, we have 798 days.
It's still a little over 2 years.
Are
Now,
those
are you
work
sure about
days?
that 798?
Are you
Are those
sure
work
about that? Are you sure about
Oh,
that?
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
we're both gone.
So if you list up your checks and stuff, it makes it a lot easier if they say it's incorrectly added. If we can actually pull it out, enlarge it, because your deposit ticket comes out about like this, enlarge it and add it, then I can say, oh yeah, it was supposed to be this and it's this. So, and it's easier to explain. If you're one of those troop leaders that just goes 27 checks, $2,370, right? Can't help you.
Get a calculator. So go back to the old way, get a calculator and I.
But even if you use a calculator, if you don't list those checks on there, nobody else, unless you put that calculator tape with it
Yeah.
for what your copy is, you don't have any backup.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing, we had more this year than we've had in the past, is that the bank recognizes the written line on the check. Not the little thing at the top that says $10. They look to see what's written. So if they don't match, they go with what's written. So if you put up here $5 and down here you put $50, they're going to take out $50. Or reverse. If someone's paying you for cookies and they put up here $50 and down here they put $5, they're only going to give you $5 and they're going to say that your deposit is off by $45.
Yeah.
And those are things that are hard to see if you don't still have the check. Now, they will usually send us a copy of that to say this is what happened. But write a check on a deposit slip. That you can use the check number, you can use the name, I don't care. List the troop leader on the deposit ticket. So if what I normally do when I'm verifying is because our troop numbers are so similar that I always look to see first the troop number and whoever troop leader is listed there, I'll make sure that they're listed in eBuddy before I'll put that deposit there. Now, if it's already there, I just verify it. But if it's not already there, because I know that sometimes we transpose numbers, and I don't want to give someone credit for a deposit that wasn't theirs. When you're looking at your deposit listing, eBuddy doesn't give us a lot of flexibility to do other kinds of things. So anytime I'm dealing with delinquent parents, I have to list them as a payment. But if you go under deposit, it will tell you the bank name is delinquent parent. So that way you'll know who the delinquent parents are in that troop, and it will tell you how much they still owe. Because what I do is I adjust that. eBuddy will go back 5 years. So when you're looking at eBuddy, there's a little spot on the left. You can choose a previous year. That's what I was trying to do with the first group. That part worked. But my sales report that I've used every year, so we'll have to work on that. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, so delinquent parents will show delinquent if they're still delinquent. They'll show paid if they're paid. So if you have a delinquent parent, make sure that you go back and look at that because it should be up to date. And any bank deposit correction will be listed on there also. Not doing that. Okay. If you have a delinquent parent, we're just very nice to call it delinquent. Because really, in most situations, not all situations, because sometimes there's some extra cookies in there somewhere. In most situations, that parent got paid for those cookies. And that parent chose to use it a different way. Whether they used it to pay a power bill that their electricity wouldn't be cut off, or if they used it to go out to eat at Wendy's. Whatever it might be. But it is theft. It's not a delinquent. A delinquent is normally, I loaned you money and you didn't pay me back. Or I gave you something, you didn't pay me back. But at no point. So, but in this situation, nobody loaned the money. This is money that belonged to the troop that was not recaptured. Send in delinquent parents as soon as those troop leaders know they're delinquent. We do not wait till after the sale to send out letters. The minute I get a delinquent form in, that letter goes out that day. Speed is of utmost importance when you're dealing with any kind of debt. The faster the troop leaders know they still have a debt, the faster parents know. Now, in our situation, It's not necessarily mean it's going to get paid, but it's made attention's done faster. A letter is sent to the parent within days. We listed in Salesforce, which is our membership system. Everybody that has a delinquent debt is listed in there, whether they're a troop leader or whether they're a parent, so that if for some reason that parent goes to another troop and gets involved in that troop, we know that that information transferred with them. Okay, troop delinquencies. Once the monies are due, and I'm not sure what the day, I think it's April. No, it's not April. Is it April?
It's
Somewhere in March is probably, there's other deposits. I think final payment is due in April. Once those are due, we print a report showing those that have a balance. We send that to our MEMs, our membership people. And then we send a letter to the Troop Cookie Chair that is listed in eBuddy. That's why we need a Troop Cookie Chair listed in eBuddy. If the issue is leftover cookies, we work with that troop to adjust that amount one time. So if they have leftover cookies, say that it's their first year as a leader and someone talked them into getting 300 cases for a boost sale that's never happened. We like to work with them a little sooner so that we can see if we can transfer those cases around somewhere else. But a lot of times we don't find out about it till mid-August. We have 2 weeks to take care of 300 cases of cookies. So, but we do not work with it after the first year. Once it happens once, you're financially responsible. If no response, then letter is sent from our attorney. If still no response, attorney files legal action. Consequences of having a delinquency as a troop or as a parent. You cannot volunteer with Girl Scouts in official capacity. And legal action up to and including jail time dependent on the amount owed. We normally do not go that far if you're owing $100 or less, because it costs more for me to file it. But don't tell your people that. I don't want to have $399 debts. Our new policies we adopted last year says that all monies must be paid 60 to 90 days after they are identified as delinquent at 100% of amount. In the past, we did payment plans. We won't be doing payment plans. Payment plans are a pain. I have probably a whole file drawer of people who've made some payments, but not all, and never finished. Absolutely, because they're counting on that I don't have time to deal with it. Issues in the communities. Anytime we have delinquencies, it always comes back to affect us. We've lost some program grants, especially when our delinquency amount was over the $35,000. Some program grants, they don't want to see any delinquencies whatsoever. So they want some kind of process in place that we can't get to yet. The girls suffer from no programming and poor leadership. So if it's a case of a troop leader, most times those girls haven't had any events, they haven't gotten their badges, they've had no experiences in their troop, and then sometimes it creates a rift in an entire community. You know, I don't know how many times you're talking to someone, they'll say, well, that troop leader stole that money 10 years ago. That was the first group said, I didn't get my refund from 10 years ago from that. I'm like, okay, I don't know what about that right now. But I think that people's view on issues that affect girls and their monies that belong to them, you know, that is a legitimate concern. That if you've got a community that is reeling from a cookie theft, because it has affected everybody, you know, especially smaller communities. But we've had it happen in larger communities. So it's something that unless we nip it and take care of it quickly, it can create issues for years to come. It creates recruitment issues. It creates retention issues. Because instead of them saying that Girl Scouts empowered their daughters, they feel like their daughters were ripped off. The service unit cookie subsidy we do each year. we're gonna continue to do what we budgeted for the next year. We had 10 cents for each case, between 5% and 9.99. If you're 4.9999 or less, you do not get a service unit subsidy for cookies. If you go over 10%, you get 15 cents for each case. So we had 50 service units receive 15 and one service unit received 10 cents per case. And it is per case, not per package. So it's just another way for a service unit to earn some money. My name gets to be on both spots in this slide because our accounting clerk, our accounting associate left us for a different job last week. So had to update my slide. So delinquent parents and delinquent troops, please refer to me. Okay, as I referred to earlier, at some point, okay, we're good. At some point, we will be doing ACH withdrawals. It will probably come after, how many days are we still hitting? 76. Probably about in 800 and some days. We're actually 2021, we're gone. We're actually trying to make sure that we cover all the issues. Like Kendall was talking about, one of the advantages of using one of our council accounts is that we take care of those NSF checks. All those NSF fees go into our account instead of affecting a troop leader's account, which may not have the capacity to cover that. We don't want to do ACHs and all of a sudden that risk is back to you.
Yeah.
So we've got to figure out a blending of those two things. It has its advantages. ACH withdrawals, you don't have to worry about going to the bank. You don't have to worry about making deposits. But you have to be very careful how you set up those withdrawals so that you're not dinging people's accounts before the money's there. So a lot of councils do it, a lot of councils don't. So it's more of those. We're still researching it. We'll see.
So, when you were talking about $30,000, is that delinquent accounts and NSF checks? Or was that, that was all?
It's a total.
And how is your success in getting NSF recovery?
Well, we have I put that in the current tense. We had a company out of Colorado that we would automatically send NSF checks to as long as they were under $500. I have 2 NSF checks in there on my desk right now for $800 and some because it's a federal offense to write NSF. Yeah, so they need to, but I'm having trouble getting them to realize it's. So I think that they can lose. I had one in there, and the grandparent came in and immediately paid up when they realized their daughter had done that because he said she didn't know how much trouble she could get into. But in other situations, what was your question? Because I just granted.
How will you recover? How will you recover?
This company, Global Check Recovery, has been really good about that. And they would actually, when they would take that back out of people's accounts, they actually gave us a percentage of the money that they're legally allowed to assess the $25.
Mm-hmm.
So what they would do is they would do it for that $25 and then they would refund us $5 of that. So when they gave us back our full check value, they would also give us back a little bit.
But sometimes the check isn't even for that much.
I know.
NSF is more than the check was.
I know. Yeah, that's the problem. The challenge is though, that company, Global Check Recovery, their owner retired, and all of a sudden within about a week, like a month ago, the company went under.
Oh.
So we're trying to find another company that does that. I've got some leads on some companies, so if any of you do that, you never know. Okay, you don't need that. Okay. Any questions that you have about anything I could answer? I was going to take you into eBuddy, but that was just real frustrating in the first session because I picked it up and I clicked on that deposits page, and all of a sudden going, it's like not helpful right now.
We're still struggling with E-buddy. It gets a little better each year.
Oh, anybody's better than that nut system.
Yeah, I never dealt with that.
I hate that nut
E-buddy
system.
covered it side that I had issues.
Yes, ma'am.
With, the proceeds of the service unit, it's like, I have a service unit account, but we've never seen any proceeds in there. Is there a certain way it has to be set up and we didn't set it up right?
What, go back up now, what?
Okay, the proceeds,
You have to have earned that, so you have to have increased your sales by that much,
yeah, we did.
okay? But you haven't seen a check or money hitting your account?
No,
Okay, then shoot me an email, let me know,
okay,
because then I can check and see, because I have a listing of who should have gotten it.
okay.
Cause I have, we didn't get a check, I have a mystery deposit. Wasn't
We
identified.
have started doing a lot of ACHs the other way.
Yeah.
You know, the first time we did ACHs, I had people call and saying, "Are you trying to get money out of my account?" I'm going, "No, I gave you money." So we did the, I think we tried to do it last year, the Truth Leader rebate.
Yeah.
We did. And it's all according if we're smart enough to put the title in there correctly. Because if you look at that, it'll say Truth Leader rebate, but it's kind of, it's where a normal invoice number would be. So you have to look at it kind of with not common sense, but kind of thinking like if you're doing a puzzle.
Maybe if you put just TRP and then leader and rebate, it might just fit better instead of.
Note that, hey, Truth Leader refunds are hitting your banks now.
Yeah, that would help.
As I said, you know, even if.
Well, we could do that. We could do that. Yeah.
There's something on Facebook that
Yeah.
those
Yeah, we could do
payments are
that.
going out, yeah.
That would help.
Then we're all like,
I said.
oh,
Yes. Yeah, we probably should do that when we're sending out anything as a
Like my question today, yes.
Like I said, to me, it was a mystery because the bank statement did not identify it as anything.
no, it just says, but
deposit.
you should get an email. Okay, then, it's supposed to send you an email as long as we have an email associated with that account. And I can't answer that, but I can check that out, because it will send you an email as long as we have an email in there.
Okay.
Now, like I said, I'm not sure which ones have the emails. Did you get an email? Or
No,
you just,
I did.
you got an email when you got a deposit, you didn't get an email?
No, I did not.
Okay, that
I
means,
just saw it on the bank statement. Went,
okay.
"What is that?"
Yeah,
That's
that's mine.
not-
I was like,
then I need to know,
$100 off.
if you have gotten an ACH from us and you did not get an email, shoot me another email so I can go into Avila, which is our system, and make sure your email address is there. Because when I do those, I get this, you get an email, I get an email. So when we're doing like those 200 things, it's like I get all these emails all of a sudden. Any other questions? Okay, I think we're on 3:05. Perfect. No other questions? If you need any information that we cannot do right now, just shoot me an email. And I'll check on those Avila things, make sure they have emails on them. There should be a way to download all vendors and see if an email is attached to it, but I'm not that savvy at Avila. Okay, thanks.
Hey everybody, this is Sean, Volunteer Resource Manager with Girl Scouts of Black Diamond Council. To receive training credit for today's training, head over to this address that's listed on the screen. You may also have a link available to you that you can click either on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're finding this at the website. So you either type in that link or click on it, and then you're going to go to this little form and you're going to pick the course that you took today, which was a Financially Fit Cookie Sale Training 2019. You're going to pick that course, and then in the next step you're going to enter a passcode, and the course and the passcode must match, so please make sure that you pick the right course and use the right code. And the code is digital 2019. Spell the word digital and put 2019. all lowercase, no spaces. So again, you're going to pick training A Financially Fit Cookie Sale for 2019. And the code is digital 2019. Okay. If you have any other questions or you're not sure who to contact, you can always contact customer care at 304-345-7722 or email customercare@bdgsc.org. And customer care is the main point of contact for all inquiries. So if you have any questions at all, you can contact customer care. Again, to receive training credit, go to this address or click on a link. And if you can pause it if you need to write it down. And the course is a Financially Fit Cookie Sale Training 2019. And the code is digital 2019. Thank you guys for all you do for the girls of Black Diamond Council, and have a great day.